Hey, buddy.
How are you, Nick?
I'm good, Tys. How are you?
I'm very well.
Yeah?
Welcome back to another episode of Nick, Tys and Videotape. Your movie podcast for
the week. For the week.
People.
We're a weekly show.
We are a weekly show. I'm very, very proud of us.
I like that we're a weekly
we've
show.
kept it up.
Yeah. Well,
Who knew?
It's not hard.
No, well, you know.
Everyone watches movies.
P.S. There was so many "That's what she said" through all of that.
All of that start?
Yeah. So go back and listen to that, guys, because
That's what she said.
that was definitely what she said. Hey, Nick, where can people find us, man?
Oh, they can find us on Facebook. They can
can.
find us on Twitter.
On
Twitter. Can find us. They can Gmail us.
They can. If you want to send us an
An email.
send it to our Gmail account,
Yep.
nicktysandvideotape@gmail.com.
That's true. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at Nick Tys Videotape.
Facebook is /Nick Tys Videotape.
We're the first one to pop up.
And if you want to jump on the old iTunes machine and subscribe and rate and review us, that would be amazing.
Please subscribe.
Thank you to all the people who have subscribed so far and have written beautiful reviews
Massively.
and rated us so nicely.
And a huge, huge shout out to the people in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Which is, apart from Australia, is our biggest listeners.
Which is amazing.
San Fran.
Our American brothers and sisters.
Thank you so much.
Really, we hope you're enjoying our
Please
bogan analysis.
Don't say that. We're not bogan.
We're not bogans.
We're not that bogan. Well, maybe we are. Yeah, thanks to you guys. And as of last week, Tyson, we have fans in Mexico as well.
In Mexico as well.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
¿Dónde estás? El sanitario.
I know no Spanish.
You got no Spanish?
No.
Oh, okay.
So
I just asked you where the bathroom was.
cool. Well, that's
that's okay.
useful information.
It is. It's the one phrase I know.
If I ever went, I'd need to know that.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, a good one, though.
No, yeah.
Not like Desperado.
No.
Remember that scene? I love that movie.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah, so, this week we're having a chat about 4 weddings and a funeral in our feature presentation section.
We are.
That's going to be a bit fun. But before we get to that,
Let's
do our...
go on.
Everybody's talking
Trailers.
Everybody's talking
at me.
No, that's it. That's all we have to do.
Oh, did you say that?
Well, I'm going to edit in the actual track.
want
So
it
you
talking?
would have just heard, ladies and gentlemen, my attempts at editing.
He's going to be quick. He's pretty good at editing.
We'll see how we go. But hopefully we don't get sued by...
I doubt it.
So, let's talk trailers.
Trailers talking. You go first.
I'm going to go
Tys.
first.
Yeah,
All right.
first,
I'm going to talk
buddy.
about... I saw the trailer for the new Pixar film.
Ooh, which
Coco.
is... Oh, right. Okay.
Now, Coco...
Go on.
Before I saw the trailer, all I knew that it was based around the Mexican holiday, speaking of our Mexican brothers and sisters,
Okay.
of the Day of the Dead.
Oh,
and
right.
they were kind of basing... they didn't really say what the plot was going to be, that it had its roots in that Mexican tradition.
Right.
Now, having seen the trailer, it appears to have a bit to do with a young boy who is a guitarist, a flamenco guitarist, who
amazing.
I believe his father, who was also a great flamenco guitarist, has passed away.
All right.
And he goes on like a journey through the underworld, kind of, to find him.
Oh, as in the underworld.
Like as in not like the subway system.
No.
Like
no, as in like Hercules, he goes
that
down
kind
to
of
Hades.
yeah.
Cool.
So that's the vibe I'm getting. There is, I don't know what it is about Pixar movies, how they do this, but
they're good.
so I watch a bunch of trailers.
They know.
I watch cartoons, trailers for cartoons, for family films, for romantic films, anything. I will watch a trailer.
Yep.
Pixar just understand emotional manipulation.
They do, don't they?
Because within 12 seconds of this trailer,
Really?
I was welling up.
Good Lord, man.
And I'm like, I don't know anything about this person. I don't know anything about what this movie's about. He picked up a guitar
Yep.
and looked at a photo or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this
I'm
movie's
in.
got me.
Yeah.
Got me from
But doesn't that
shot one.
tell you how well the Pixar brand, how well they do what they do? Do you know what I mean? Like
there's never been any dispute to that.
Oh, exactly.
Like they
No,
do
this
it
is-
better than anybody else.
exactly, but this is comparing to other people's trailers. Even if you are doing an action, they should be taking hints from this. It's the score. I can tell. I haven't even seen the trailer, and I can tell what got you. You know, it's the score. It's the.
They just, and you know, the fact that it goes all the way down from the people who are directing the film, all the way down to the bottom rung people at Pixar.
Yeah.
The guy that just cut the trailer.
Yeah.
Has more talent in his little finger than most film directors have. In their whole bodies, because he was just able to craft this perfect little emotional reaction out of me in 10 seconds.
Do you think that it has to do with the fact that they spend it's almost like 4 years on a film? Is it?
I think that's a big part of it.
Do you know what I mean?
Because you know they make sure that they don't rush anything. They make sure that they spend the time that they need before. To make sure that the story is right. And that's their strongest point. I think regardless of anything else that they do well, the animation is always gorgeous, but you watch the animation in Storks probably is great. It looks, you know,
Storks.
Whatever. But what sets Pixar aside is that their storytelling is so
on the nose.
Like
on point.
Oh, like on point. On the nose is bad. On point. We like on point.
On the nose bad?
On the nose is like, it's a bit, because it smells. It's on the nose.
Oh, I didn't know that. We are learning things today here, ladies and gentlemen.
On point. That's what we're talking about.
On point.
On point. Because they just nail it so
they
well.
know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So, it was a cute trailer, man. It looked really fun. I hope,
So hope
it translates.
Do you go out to see a Pixar film at the
sometimes
cinema?
I have in the past.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen one for a little while in the cinema. I didn't see Inside Out in the cinema. I didn't see Good Dinosaur in the cinema.
Okay.
I didn't see Finding Dory. I still haven't seen Founding Dory? Founding Dory.
Say it in the Australian way. Founding Dory.
No, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's great. But
I've heard mixed about Finding Dory.
Sure.
But Inside Out, when I watched it, that was the one that I was like, oh my God, this is intense. And that was actually my pick for best original screenplay that year. And I was actually quite pissed off that didn't get it.
No, fair enough. Inside Out was Inside Out wasn't my favorite of them. I think I might have gone in with too high expectations because I'd heard such things about it, and I found it to be very good, but it didn't have the same reaction that some of their other ones had in the past.
Ball every time.
See, it's so funny. They just know that there are certain people that they will absolutely tap into.
Yeah.
What makes them tick.
Yeah.
And they put in a movie. Like of all things, I watch Ratatouille.
Because your favorite. You've said that before. Your favorite is Ratatouille.
It just kills me.
Really?
And I hate cooking.
I need to watch it again.
I'm the worst at it, and I hate doing it.
Really?
Yeah. This movie about a rat chef.
Yeah.
Because it's because their movies are never just about what they're about.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Like
it's layered.
Ratatouille is so much about having passion for what you love doing, and I think I translate that into my passions. So I see this like beautiful little rat who just wants to cook, even though it's not cool for a rat to cook. Yeah. And I'm like, do you know what, man? That's all of us. We all just want to do something that's not cool for us to do.
Yeah.
Hang on, that sounds
bad.
Sus.
That sounds bad. We're not editing that out. We're keeping that in. That's awesome. He made himself laugh.
That's awful.
That's totally. We're keeping it in. We want to do things that aren't cool, but no, that's not what you meant.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant at all. That in some ways society holds us down, not through laws because they're good things.
Absolutely.
But, through, the weight of responsibilities of real life, we don't get to have our passions. And so obviously something in Inside Out spoke more to you than it did to me on a certain level and stuff. Yep. So, but what they do, it's always great. It's always great. Oh,
so good.
That's made me laugh so much.
It's so good.
Anyway, what did you see, man? What was your trailer?
I watched, which is hilarious because I didn't realize that it comes out in like a week or 2 weeks or something. Life.
Oh, yeah. I've seen this trailer a couple of times. It looks kind of interesting.
It looks good. The premise we've seen before, Tys. It's literally just ripping the hell out of Alien, which is fine, but it's got my boyfriend Ryan Reynolds in there, and it's got
Jake Gyllenhaal.
So it's got others, but and then I looked up the director. I was like, Daniel Espinosa. Why do I know? And I'm a huge fan of Safe House.
Yeah, the Safe House was okay.
It was not bad,
it was trash, but it had
good
really
trash.
great energy about it, great momentum.
It was good. I liked it.
It was,
It was an action movie that stuck to
when
its
they
guns.
say like, oh, it's a thriller minute kind of movie, and you're like, stop,
I'll piss off.
That was actually one of those movies where you were on your edge. You were actually on the edge of your seat because it kept the momentum just kept going and going, and that's the trick.
That's what you want
of a good director who can handle what is not a great story, because it was not a particularly original story.
It wasn't hugely fleshed out.
But he managed to keep the momentum going, keep the drive going. So we were there all the way. And then after 90 minutes, it's like, oh, wow, it's been 90 minutes.
And you normally with a movie like Safe House, the characters are wispy thin. These characters you actually did care about.
They were good. They were fleshed out. It was good.
Yeah. But yeah, Life, it looks good.
I mean, it could just be a stock standard kind of alien movie.
Exactly, but I'm all for it. The trailer makes
Prometheus-y. It's got a bit of a Prometheus vibe, the kind of the black goo.
I hate that this is the bench. We haven't had name another sci-fi film that is the benchmark recently. Let's say when did Prometheus come out?
Prometheus was 2012 or 13, maybe. I'll say.
Since then, what has been the benchmark of sci-fi?
Since then,
full sci-fi, not a franchise like Star Trek or anything like that. Star Wars, something that is legit sci-fi. The only thing that I was going to say District 9, but that was
way before
that.
Snowpiercer.
Oh yeah, that was I
that's universally acknowledged as a fucking great movie.
Yeah. I don't mind Snowpiercer.
The Martian? It's not really.
Yeah,
it's not
sci-fi.
Interstellar.
It's more. They're more drama.
Lots of people don't like Interstellar, and I don't understand those people.
and those people, we love you. Write us in and tell us why you don't like it.
It's one of those things. Certain things don't work for certain people, but I watched that movie, and all I feel it is a movie that is so open. It puts everything out there for you as an audience member, and it says, this is it. This is this movie. We're trying a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I hope you like it. And I can't hate a movie like that. Yeah. I don't think that so openly puts its heart out there.
Yeah. So many aspects of that movie that work, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and look, some of it doesn't.
Of course,
but
not
the
every
majority of it works really well.
Can be Shawshank Redemption, which does not have a hole in it at all.
No, every single moment of that film probably works.
Every single moment. That's why it's number one. Well,
yeah,
not my number one though.
It's worth thinking about though. Is there anything in Shawshank Redemption that doesn't work? Oh, maybe the guy playing.
No. Let's try
the young guy that has to do. He's not the greatest actor.
He's not. No, but he plays his part. He
does fine.
And but there's no holes, Tys. There's no holes in Shawshank. No, Brooks is beautiful. What are you talking about?
But maybe.
What are you talking about? Brooks is the most beautiful part of that.
No, like I'm saying, not Brooks's story.
Yeah. Brooks is the actor.
No,
yeah, he's awesome.
I don't know.
No holes, Tys.
There's no holes.
You got nothing.
I think a cynical person could poke holes in the Brooks montage. Because it is pretty.
No, but it has to do with the fact that if
it is pretty it's manipulative.
But there's a reason for the Brooks montage because
it works for me. It totally works for me. I'm saying a more cynical person could poke holes in that.
Right. Well, cynical people.
I'm not a cynical person if I can help it. I try not to be. It's really hard sometimes, but I try not to be.
Yeah. When it comes to film, I'm not cynical.
No,
when it comes to film, I'm not cynical. When it comes to
when
life,
I watch something like Twilight, I'm cynical about that because I see the cynicism in its creation.
Yeah, that's because it's
like it has no other purpose to exist other than to make money.
Exactly. Which is why 50 Shades Darker,
I'm allowed to be cynical about.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anyway.
Moving on.
Oh, just before we move on from Life, because it looks kind of cool, and I've heard reviews have been good.
Yeah.
Have you heard this secret rumor?
Oh, I have heard this. Go on.
That it might be, well, it's not,
attached
but this
to,
is funny. It's a secret Venom
Venom
prequel.
project. Fuck off.
I think that's amazing, though, that people can find that stuff in it.
And if that's true, that means that Deadpool is in the Venom.
Which is kind of funny, though, because then it's...
So is Donnie Darko. No. I'm not having it.
It's a shared universe with Donnie Darko.
Clearly.
Well, I mean, he did figure out how to manipulate space and time.
Did he though?
We didn't figure out like how to do it, but he did do it.
He did.
So
it did happen to him.
But just to explain for people who have no fucking clue what we're talking about, it just so happens that the screenwriters of this wrote Deadpool.
They did.
And this is a film about
almost like an alien symbiote.
An alien symbiote that appears to be evil in nature.
Yeah, which
is what Venom is.
Yep.
They haven't like shot down the rumor either. Whenever they've spoken to the writers and the director, they've been doing this whole kind of I don't know.
Oh, that's just playing.
Which they're just playing. But I love that people go to that trouble and kind of go and try and find these things in movies. Maybe this is the thing. Maybe this is because
you know what this is? This is if we were so if this movie came out, Tyson, we were 15, 16, we're in.
Yeah.
We're in for that.
Yeah, I might not have discussed it on the podcast, but we've talked about it personally.
Yeah. That
my favorite thing in the world is a secret prequel. A movie that I'm watching that reveals itself as a prequel to something else.
Yep.
Like halfway through towards the end. It's very rare.
It's very rare.
But it's amazing because I'm like, how did you manage to keep this a secret this whole time in this age that we are living in where nothing is a secret? Nothing. It just reminds me of those glory days of like the Cloverfield teaser.
Yes.
When all of a sudden we were watching this movie of this home footage and
the
Statue of Liberty head rolled down the street. And I'm like,
oh my God,
it was the most exciting moment of my life.
And I loved it when that teaser came out. There was no title because they hadn't thought of the title yet.
They just
so
had
it was just the date.
Yeah.
I wish they kept that movie as the release date. That would have worked for me.
Yeah.
Why not just keep it as the release date?
Well, because it's the date of the event.
Exactly.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Works.
Leave it at that.
Anyway. But that was a beautiful time.
Yeah, I do.
So
love that.
the idea of this secret prequel is a movie that has managed to be one thing and keep it under the radar, like Blair Witch Project secret sequel.
Yeah.
Which turned out to be, which was called something else, called The Woods or something, until the day it premiered at a festival.
Oh, really?
And they told the audience, by the way, you're about to watch the Blair Witch sequel. Yeah.
Is it a sequel or is it a remake?
It's a sequel.
It's a sequel.
Yeah.
Oh.
And, stuff like that blows my mind. Like, stuff like that. I love that. So, reading this little thing, I was kind of like giddy like a schoolgirl because it was like, wouldn't it be amazing if it was? And it's not, but wouldn't it be amazing?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's trailers. Or have you got another trailer you want to talk about?
No, I don't. Let's go to what did you watch this week?
What did you watch this week?
What did I watch? I've
got a couple. How many you got?
A few, but I'm only going to talk about one.
All right.
I watched Four Weddings and a Funeral, but we'll get to that later. I actually just quickly going to say that I rewatched The Matrix.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Because of
Is this your little quick one before the real one?
Before the real one.
Yeah, I'll do a quick one before my real one too.
So I rewatched The Matrix because of the rumors of their remaking The Matrix. But it's not a remake, it's actually just...
It's a prequel.
It's whatever it is.
Whatever.
I like that movie. The first Matrix.
I like them all. I'm fine with all of them.
Oh, same. But the
first one
is
above.
One. Yes. Yeah, is above the rest. But I just love what the Wachowskis did. They made this movie. Then they thought, oh well, they're wanting us to make more. We'll bring out the Animatrix, which was sort of the in between and the prequel and sort of that stuff. And then they came out. There was sequel, and then the game, and then all of that. It was
they created a
amazing
huge universe, based off it, which was unheard of at the time.
At the time, yeah, exactly.
There was nothing like that.
But yeah, I'm in love with the neo noir setting.
Sure.
Dark City.
Oh man, I watched the trailer for Dark City the other day because it just popped up on YouTube on
really?
Because I subscribe to like old trailers and stuff
awesome.
on YouTube. So when they upload them. Dark City.
How good
is in the running for my favorite movie of all time. I think.
The reason that no one saw Dark City, Tys?
So it came out the same year as The Matrix.
There you go.
So
good.
And I don't, not to poo-poo The Matrix because I think it's a stunning achievement. Not. Dark City is a better movie.
Yeah, Dark City is a better movie.
Yeah.
But no, the movie that I watched that I want to talk about was Finding Neverland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it had been on my mind for a while. And
you'd never seen it before?
No, I had seen it before.
Yeah, I've seen it once.
And it was just a warm movie.
It was.
It's a movie that for those of you who don't know what it is, it's the... Do you say biopic or do you say biopic? Do you say biopic? What do you say?
Do I say biopic or biopic? I say biopic.
Pick.
Like
Okay.
it is a biopic.
Biopic,
It's not a
okay.
biopic.
Biopic?
That sounds like an operation
Yeah, it
of
does,
some
doesn't it?
description.
Okay. So it's the biopic of the creator of Peter Pan. But it's a gentle I found it's like a gentle story of the artist, and it's not the reason I like it is because it's not heavy on its themes. It has the themes in there, like it's a period piece. It's dealing with the fact of the artist being the creator of Peter Pan, but also, you know, Kate Winslet's character being a single mother and dealing with those things.
Yep.
Like there are heavy things in there a little bit,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know, but they don't go too deep. They kind of keep it light and nice, and I always end up crying anyway.
Yeah,
But I like it.
I saw
It's
it. I
so
saw it
nice.
once around the time because when it was up for a bunch of Academy Awards, I think I watched it and just to kind of tick it off the list.
Yep.
I've never had the urge to go back and watch it again, I must be honest. But
Yeah,
I
fair
remember
deal.
having an emotional reaction to it and feeling kind of
It was good. It was
quite
nice.
moved by it.
Yeah.
I think my favourite parts of it were the I can't remember, were they kind of was it his imagination when things kind of started to become
He was seeing
like Neverland in the world?
He was because he was spending time with Kate Winslet's character and her children because her husband had died. He just liked giving her children sort of that imagination of different sorts of scenarios. And so while they were playing and he's, you know, looking over them in this imaginary land, his head kind of takes off.
So they'd play games of like, they'd play make-believe and they'd have like a broomstick and pretend it's a sword.
And he would take off
it and make
from
it,
that.
Okay. Which I found those moments to be quite effective, and I found them quite moving. Because anything that kind of spurs imagination for me, I get kind of attached to.
Yeah, I like it as well, and especially with the ending is kind of a bit because she's quite sick.
Yeah,
and she doesn't get to see the play.
That's
so he
right.
brings the play to her.
Yeah,
and it's kind of washed over a little bit, and I picked up on it this time, whereas. They take her downstairs into the lounge room or whatever, and they set up the play as much as he can. But then the wall of the house lifts off, and she sees Neverland and walks into it, and you know
she's clearly
dying.
Yeah,
but it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, I remember it being like looking really nice as well.
And the acting is just top notch. Like, say what you will about Johnny Depp, when he turns it on, he can turn it on.
This was still when I think he had a little bit more.
When he
cared a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd reached his I'm over it period
yet.
In
now. Yeah, I'm going to cash it in.
Which was, you know, I can't remember when exactly that started, but I feel like
was it
movies like
Diary?
The Tourist.
Diary?
So even a bit earlier than
that.
I think The Tourist was kind of the starting point where you were like, what's going on? With
Did you
Johnny
watch The
Depp?
Tourist?
Secret Window? Maybe that kind of period, Johnny Depp?
That was quite early. I remember liking
that was
Secret
2000
Window.
And I want to say 2-ish.
Yeah.
I think that was after Finding Neverland, though. I don't know, actually.
Yeah, Neverland was 2004.
Oh, okay. Right. Because, I still feel like he gave her rats then.
Exactly. You feel like you did.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway,
nice.
Finding Neverland.
Nice. That's not the title. Do you want to try that again?
Sorry. Finding Neverland. Thank you, Tyson, for giving me that. My mouth was full of water.
I will do.
Go on.
Likewise to you.
One.
I'll do a little snippet of a one. I rewatched because it's been a while since I've seen it and I want to try it again. Yeah. I watched 47 Ronin, the Keanu Reeves movie from a couple of years ago.
I watched that recently, actually.
So I watched it the first time and was kind of like, hey, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Why did this get a really fucking bad rap?
Yeah.
And I was like, this kind of works. Watched it again, being like, was I high? And I still kind of dig that movie.
Oh, you were okay?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because, the more
you go.
it's one of these movies that everyone kind of bags out now because it was like, oh, remember that piece of shit? And I'm like,
hang on a minute.
It was okay. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
There are bits, like, don't get me wrong, there are parts that do not work. And it is a movie that does not know what kind of movie it wants to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Apparently, the director, Carl Reich, I'm not quite sure actually on that.
Give it a googs.
Give it a googs. Went in with the intentions of making like a very quiet, thoughtful retelling of this very sad story.
Okay.
And then it turned out, no, you're making a big action blockbuster. So there are moments of the blockbusterness that just don't work.
Yeah.
But there are really nice, smaller moments that I think work really well.
Okay. Carl, Rinsch. Go and say that. Rinch?
Rinch? We'll say Rinch.
We'll say Rinch.
Yeah. So, there are parts that really work. I think Keanu Reeves does pretty good stuff. I think the CGI is a bit iffy.
It's a bit, yeah.
There is a whole sequence in the middle that just does not need to be there, where they go to the pirate town to find Keanu Reeves after he's left.
To be honest, I probably couldn't tell you anything about it.
It should just be not in the movie.
Yeah.
Do you remember there were these posters floating around when it was going to come out? There was a guy who was fully tattooed like a skeleton.
Yeah, he's on the cover holding a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. It was just him though.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
He's in it for under 10 seconds. And so clearly...
But he makes the cover.
But this is what I mean. Clearly, he was... there was some very late, I'm talking like week before release date recuts of this, because they were really worried about what they had. So it's obviously a victim of studio interference, and I even heard that he got Carl Rinsch got locked out of the editing room. So I love that this shit
happens. How does this shit happen?
What I find amazing is that the movie is even watchable after that kind of stuff, because I don't actually think it's awful. I think there's some really nice stuff going on into it. The whole final siege, where they sneak in while performing,
epic. Yeah, I remember that.
Like a kabuki kind of dance style thing is great, really great. And there's some there's some killer elements in it. So if it's one of those movies you've avoided because you've heard it's a big piece of shit, give it a watch, because it's not as bad. If you go in with that kind of, don't go in with the mindset of, this is going to be shit. This is going to be awful. Just go in and have a decent time, because it's harmless, and it actually has some nice things to say, some nice character moments in it.
Do you know sometimes that works for me though? If I go into a movie going, this is going to be shit,
and then when it's not,
quite surprising.
Yeah, fair.
Oh, wow, that was okay.
I find that if I go in asking a movie to prove itself to me, it never can.
Yeah.
So that's true. I never try to go in with that atmosphere of, all right, prove to me that you're not a piece of shit, because it will never be able to.
I feel that I did that with Doctor Strange. I went in going, go on, prove to me I'm going to have a good time, sort of thing. And
interesting.
And I was like, I shouldn't have done that.
No.
Yeah,
because I went in the opposite. I went in kind of being like, all right, Doctor Strange. Let's see what happens, man. Let's have a good time. Yeah. And I had a good time. So,
what was the other movie?
I watched the Goosebumps movie.
Oh,
from a couple of years ago.
Yeah. How good is that?
It's really great.
Oh,
I found it really clever.
It was good, wasn't it?
It tried,
and it was kind of a little bit scary.
It was a little bit scary.
Yeah. Which I kind of loved.
Sammy the Dummy, the talking ventriloquist doll, is terrifying.
Petrifying.
But what I found really interesting is that they could have gone any direction. They could have remade they could have just made any of the books into a movie and cashed in on it.
Yeah.
But they actually tried to do something that stepped kind of outside the norm. Yeah. They tried to do this kind of, it's almost kind of meta. It's in its design, because you're making a real person a character in the film, and
that's
it's like that.
Oh, you're talking about R.L. Stein.
Yeah, we're existing in the same universe as this movie.
Yeah,
so
that's so true.
I think that's kind of clever.
It is,
and far more clever than any kids movie ever needs to be. Really, like it actually, I admire the movie because it's treating these kids with more respect by doing something more intelligent for them. And actually that's something that me as a kid would really dig. Man, I'd love that. I'd be like, oh my God, I have these books too, and they're trapped in the books. Yeah. And so when you go to read them, suddenly it becomes this extra adventure of oh man, I can't believe he had to write these and lock up the books because they trap the monsters in them. It's so really clever.
So good.
Nice performances, nice writing. I actually kind of found it funny. They were witty enough without being stop fucking around and just get to the story. Because sometimes you just want them to shut up and
come on, let's go.
Do the plot.
Let's go.
Already.
Come on.
There's a spoiler in it towards the end that caught me totally off guard.
Oh, really?
Did not pick it at all.
Yep.
nice little throwbacks to the books themselves, like little moments here and there
So
that
good.
that
So
you know you'd have to be a reader of the books to pick up on.
Yep.
And Jack Black doing good Jack Black.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he's totally versatile. I think sometimes he can be really frustrating because it's like it's just not the movie
Jack
you should
Black.
be in.
Yep.
But this was great for him. It was great. It was actually. I didn't feel
really
like
good.
it was just me watching Jack Black. I felt like I was.
He was actually R.L. Stone.
Yeah, I was getting into a character he was making, and it
was
worked
good.
really well for him.
It was really good.
I had a good time.
Yeah.
It's the CGI is awful. It's like
it's kids CGI.
it's borderline some of the worst I've seen. Considering, like, it was only made a year and a half ago. It came out or something late 2015.
Yep.
And it looks awful. That werewolf in the supermarket scene. There are shots that look like they were composed over a still photo of the background.
But
I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I had the same qualms with the. Oh, this is going to be controversial. The new Ghostbusters.
Oh, sure.
The new Ghostbusters ghosts didn't look scary. They didn't look like they were too highlighted. They were there was way too much color in them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you. But like, what I think. When we've got something to compare it to that was done practically,
exactly,
we just end up going, well, why am I
why
looking
didn't you do
looking
that?
at fake shit?
Exactly.
Like, it's not hard to make a convincing werewolf costume.
That's true.
We've seen so many the years.
Oh, I don't know. Oh no, you're talking about okay.
So for Goosebumps, put just a stunt man, or put like a gymnast in that werewolf suit.
Yep.
And suddenly we've got practical effects, and this whole scene works a bazillion times better. Because that scene in the supermarket when they're being chased by the werewolf, it's 15 minutes.
Yeah.
None of it works because the werewolf is so terrible special effects.
I remember hating the werewolf.
Yeah, this is one of the worst I've seen. I think as a CG element, I would have happily preferred a shit suit. Like, not a suit made of shit, obviously.
I would prefer a shit suit. An emoji shit suit. I'm pretty sure they've made that. I'm pretty sure you can get one of them.
Oh, you probably could.
You probably could. A shit suit.
What are you wearing? It's my shit suit.
I'm wearing the poo emoji. What? Happy Halloween.
But otherwise, surprisingly grown up for a kids movie.
Yeah.
It was a big shock. I just kind of I was like, let's fucking watch Goosebumps when I was looking through Stan the other day.
Yeah, awesome.
There you go.
Awesome.
So that's what I watched.
Fair enough. That was what did you watch this week with Nick Tys and Videotape?
It is. I think we're going to move on to our feature presentation.
We are.
And now for our feature presentation.
Okay, let's go.
4 weddings and a funeral.
4 weddings and a funeral.
So this is the first of many, I hope.
Volume 1 of It's on my list.
It's on my list.
It's on the list? It's on my list.
It's on my list.
It's on our list.
Me. It's on the list. No, I say it's on the list.
I've
Someone goes,
it,
why haven't you watched this?
I've written it down
list.
somewhere, so it's whatever I wrote it down as.
Oh, really?
Is what we have to call it from now on. It's already done. Done.
This is what happens when you have Tys as your editor. All right, fair enough.
Continuity, man. It's important.
It's on my list.
So Volume 1, this is the kind of movies that for some reason in our life we have just not watched. Who knows why? Yet. And so we thought what a great opportunity to
start it off,
to do these then in this podcast format where we not only get to watch them and then turn around to each other and go, oh, that was good. We actually now can talk about it and,
and go,
not many people will listen.
That was good.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I want to start with a question though, because I think this would be a good way to start it's on my list.
Okay,
segment.
Go for it.
Why have you not seen this movie until now,
Nick? That's a good question, Tyson. I literally don't have an answer for it though.
Really?
Yeah. It's never. I think because I think my first Richard Curtis. Oh no, it couldn't have been Love Actually.
It might have been.
No, I don't think it was.
You might have seen some of the series.
Notting Hill,
series
Bridget
stuff. Jones.
Oh yeah, I've seen. He's done. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. Actually. Well, it's an odd one for me.
I became a fan anyway.
Well, I think this might be the similar for you. I think.
Yeah.
Is that I tend to get a little defensive about things that you will love this. You know what I mean? So when I have 200 people all going,
You will love this,
"You will love this
Tyson."
movie. I can't believe you haven't seen it.
How have you not seen
this? It's so good."
And you go, because you've done that,
I get
I'm
fully
not fucking
defensive.
seen it.
About it.
I'm the same. Oh, wow, I'm the same.
And so I think because this movie, I was amazed. I'd completely forgotten because while watching it or after watching it, I was doing some, research on it.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten just how huge this movie was. It was massive.
Yeah.
And it just it was one of those explosion movies where it was suddenly just everybody was talking about Four Weddings and a Funeral.
It was huge.
And I was a little young, I would have been 12 or so. So it, obviously when it came out, I wouldn't have given a rat's ass.
I think that has to do with the fact that why we haven't seen it, Tyson.
But see, 16-year-old me, when I was like, yeah, I'm a crazy movie fan.
Yep. Why haven't you
only a
watched it
couple
yet?
of years ago, this was the biggest movie of the year.
Exactly.
Yet somehow I'd avoided it.
Yeah.
I used to try and go back through old years worth of Best Picture nominations.
Yeah.
Somehow got to Four Weddings and a Funeral and was like, nah.
Best Picture though. Four Weddings and a
It
Funeral.
blows my mind.
Best Picture
And
nomination.
there's not, especially back then when there was only 5.
Yeah.
For a movie to get in with only
and it's a
screenplay nomination.
and it's a comedy.
And it's a comedy. Pretty impressive.
Huge. That's massive.
So now, having seen it for the first time, a good 23 years later,
Ooh, well done.
how does it hold up? How do you feel about this film?
Look, it held up.
Okay.
Did I like it? Yeah.
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 I found myself kind of,
Do you know what I mean?
at the end of it, just kind of being like, okay.
Yeah, that was...
Well, now I've seen Four Weddings and a Funeral.
Yeah, exactly. I was the same.
I don't think I'm ever going to want to watch it again.
No, I'm not. Okay. Going in, unfortunately, there are a few. It already had some strikes against its name for me.
Okay.
And one of those strikes was Andy McDowell. But that's just for me. But I gave it a shot. It had Hugh Grant and it had and Richard Curtis. Like those two major shots. I was like, oh well, there's got to be some parts of this that I love. And there were some parts that I laughed through it.
I had the occasional giggle. I found it.
I laughed mostly at Simon Callow's character, who was amazing.
I want to talk about Simon Callow
we'll go
a bit later.
We'll come back. Yep.
But I agree.
But
it was amazing.
There were there were a few crosses for me with Andy McDowell there.
I'm not the world's biggest Andy McDowell fan. I'm not going to go to bat for her in this conversation because I don't care.
Don't
enough.
go to bat because I'm going to tear it to shreds.
But she's not good in this movie.
No. Is she good in any movie though, Tys?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to have a think. I'd have to have a look and double check because
see that's the thing.
Right now, I can't think of a movie that I like her in. But for some reason, I'm not sitting here thinking that Andy McDowell's rubbish. So there must be some things that I've seen that I like her in. So I'd need to have a bit of a check. But she does not work for me in this film.
Okay.
At all.
All right.
And I think that's a big problem with this movie.
Yeah.
When you're presenting a romantic comedy where I don't root for them to be together at any point.
Exactly. But there are reasons for this.
There are legitimate reasons for it.
Are we'll get into this now?
Well, I don't know. Do we want to just go straight into what doesn't work and then maybe come back later to what does work? Because this could be just a long conversation about why Andy McDowell's character doesn't work.
Why Andy McDowell doesn't work as anyway. All right. Well, let's talk about Andy McDowell.
Okay. She's crazy. She's an awful human being.
She is really awful. Yeah. But the thing is, so as an audience, we're led to like her, Tyson, because Hugh likes her. So that first wedding, she's lovely, she's nice. There's glances across the room.
She is nice, and she looks great.
She's
She's rocking the huge hat and the kind of pantsuit thing. She looks stunning.
Exactly. It's full 90s. We're going full 90s.
So fucking 90s.
And it's
some
fine.
Of this movie.
And then the wedding ends, and then they go back to the hotel, and then he has that whiskey scene.
Yes, fantastic.
Which she was cute and
I've got it here.
Oh,
I love that how she takes charge of the situation.
Yeah,
it's a really nice subversion of what we usually see in these romantic comedies, where the girl is kind of the passenger along the way. Like she takes charge. If it wasn't for her,
he'd be stuck having
Hugh
a whiskey
Grant
with
would
the
not
fucking
be,
old man.
Not be sleeping with her that night.
Asked for a cigar. I love that he asked for a cigar. Oh yeah, sure, we'll have a cigar and bring me a.
Yeah, no, you're right. Up until the end of the first wedding.
So end of the wedding.
She's great.
Yeah, they sleep together, and then 3 months later, Tyson. 3 months. She's engaged.
She's engaged to someone who you cannot sell me. You cannot tell me.
Yeah.
That there is not an ulterior motive for their engagement. Because he looks like the most British of British men, old men. He looks like one of those cartoon Family Guy British characters.
Yes.
When they try to make fun of British people, this is what this guy looks like. And so I just look at him and I'm like,
what the fuck are you doing?
What do you see in this guy?
How is their relationship here?
What is their relationship?
You're getting married.
In 3 months. So there needs to be I need to see this amazing chemistry between the two of them. I need to see something, because 3 months.
3 months.
But are we meant to assume that she was already with him during the first wedding?
No,
I'm trying to remember the order.
No,
because she slept with Hugh Grant before she slept with him. Yes.
Yeah.
In the order of her
order
sleeping with guys.
Yeah.
So I see no chemistry between them at all.
And
he's not exactly no offense to the guy, but he's an old man. He's not exactly attractive.
Exactly.
And he's not even like a silver fox. He's like a weird balding ranger with dirty British teeth.
A weird balding ranger.
I'm like, you're just not selling. You're not selling this.
I know, that's so true. And then, because of the age gap, not that I've, things against age gaps at all.
You need to compensate for that and show why.
Exactly.
Why the age gap is irrelevant, which they don't do.
But as soon as we think we're going to get that, we're like, oh no, maybe there is a reason why she likes him, blah, 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 blah. Then Gareth, Simon Callow's character, just chucks in, oh, by the way, he's loaded, he's got castles. And I'm like, well, hang on a minute. And then, throughout the whole movie, they don't back that up with anything.
No.
So I thought, well, maybe Andie MacDowell is sort of a femme fatale-ish. Maybe she is going to... Because I hadn't seen it, so I was kind of guessing the funeral. I'm like, who was the funeral?
Yes.
So I was like, oh,
sure.
okay. So she gets together with him. He dies. She gets all the money. He's the funeral. And she goes back to Hugh Grant.
Oh.
That's what I thought in my head.
Okay.
But...
I don't know.
I don't know
how do you root for a character that does that?
No, you don't.
You don't.
That's the thing. So
you don't root for this character at all.
By the third, 3 months later,
But
she's
she
engaged
just-
and sleeps with him, right?
But she just keeps sleeping with Hugh Grant.
I know. No, wait.
Oh my-
So then after the in 3 months later, engaged with him, sleeps with him again. She's engaged. By this point, as audience members, we're like, okay, you're just an awful person.
You're not a very nice person. Yeah.
And then really the 2 cherries. There's 2 cherries on top here. One, she takes him wedding dress shopping, Tyson. Wedding dress shopping. Look at me in those things. And he, she obviously knows that or has some kind of sense that he likes her.
Oh, no, of course she does by that point.
They've slept together twice. Come on.
She's 100%.
And then the other cherry is she invites him to her wedding.
Do you know what was the clincher for me?
What the fuck is
The fact that she disguises a joke about, and to the person that said if it doesn't work out, to keep you in mind, I'll let you know.
That's not funny.
She describes, and she sells it as like a joke to the crowd.
Yeah.
When we know she's telling Hugh Grant in the audience, if it doesn't work out,
I'm all yours.
I'm all yours.
What kind of person is this?
She is a horrible, horrible human being.
Yeah.
And this is... To add on that, Kristen Scott Thomas is gorgeous.
Amazing.
Such a better character.
It's
like so much more in tune, down to earth.
So much less screen time, but so much more levels.
So many more levels, so much more impact. Her scene where she tells Charlie that she's loved him was heartbreaking, I thought.
Have you been in that situation, Tyson?
Oh, I think I have at one point or another, yeah. And like... In my mind, the whole time, I'm just like, movie, you are not selling this because you're presenting me on one hand, Andie MacDowell, who I think is awful and is an awful human being. You have Kirsten Scott Thomas, who is beautiful and is open and trying to just emote these really deep things to Hugh Grant. And but the movie's telling me that he's going to end up with Andie MacDowell because that's the movie. It's like we want what Hugh Grant wants, and I want to slap him and say, What are you doing?
Yeah.
She's the one, man.
Yeah.
Not Andie MacDowell.
Yeah.
because then at the end of the movie we're all like happy song, and we're in the rain, and we've had this beautiful moment of. And I'm like, no, she's going to sleep with somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. What are the chances she's going to fuck off with a guy who has castles?
Nothing between what you two have shared in this movie makes me think.
Which is barely any time, by the
together.
way. You guys have literally spent time 3 times. Oh no, a couple of times. So the first wedding, and then slept together. So a couple of hours.
Yes.
Then
we could assume less than 48 hours combined time.
Yeah, exactly.
And most of that, some of that sleeping after bonking.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Wedding dress shopping doesn't really count. On his, but like
yeah. And for a movie that is so well regarded, and
is it
as this, man, like people
is
still, it's the pinnacle of like British romantic comedy.
Is it
in
romantic
a lot of people's
comedy
minds.
Though, Tys?
Well, yeah, I think it has to
it?
be called a romantic comedy. I find it too big a hole to overlook, and I think it honestly took away a lot. And that's my personal preference, and it's obviously your personal preference as well.
Yeah,
there are people that probably think Andie MacDowell is super charming.
Oh, you people are.
I don't understand where it comes from.
I don't get it.
But it doesn't, because that's not how I feel. But there are people that obviously think she's super charming and she's great, and they want them to be together.
There were shots in this movie where she was stunning.
I'm not saying physically she's not gorgeous. She is gorgeous. But like I'm saying, like, as a person, I would not want to be her friend.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
You horrible, horrible wench. But that's what her character was. She was just so mean.
She was mean.
I
don't know. Yeah. So I
don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't want to harp on it.
But that's it. No, we're done.
Yeah. And then she rolls up to his wedding. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
we're not harping on it, but she rolls up to his wedding.
But you know what you do? You don't tell someone you know is in love with you that you have split up with your partner at his wedding.
Not at his wedding.
You just shut up.
Yeah.
You get in there and you sit down and you go, it's not the time.
But that's the thing. Like,
that is opening a legitimate hornet's nest, throwing it into a room, shutting the door and running away.
Yeah.
That is a horrible thing to do.
That's very
true. That is manipulative.
Although
those kind of people, like, I would not want to be friends with those kind of people.
Exactly. But the thing is, like, he could have just gotten married and then annulled it the next day. Like, do you know what I mean?
Oh, but that's
I know
it's Hollywood, man.
It's the movie thing.
The punch is funny.
Exactly.
Although, because they make her awful as well, and I don't get this kind of thing in romantic comedies where it's like the girl that the guy ends up with is just like
plain flat,
just awful, but not like awful in a kind of like true personality flaw way. Awful in a really kind of like over the top comic way.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, you're doing nothing for me here, because I know he's not going to end up with her because.
Well, I thought it was going to be Kristen Scott Thomas.
But then that would have broken my heart if he was going to marry her and then left her for Andie MacDowell.
That would have been a better movie.
I was so glad that they didn't have it as that he was marrying.
That's true.
Kristen Scott Thomas. I would have hated this movie. It would have been like, no.
It would have been pass.
Done. Never watching this movie again.
So let's talk about Hugh Grant's character for a second.
Sure. I think. Do you want to go?
No, you go.
I think he gives a very good performance, and I think this is the beginning of a part of Hugh Grant that I like. I like his energy. I like his stage presence.
Yep.
But I think because of the way it ends up with Andie MacDowell's character, I think I can't be on board with his character either.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? I kind of just go, well, you're an idiot.
For going through that. Have a good one. You're going to get dumped.
Yeah.
I do. I see what you're saying. And it is the start of the sort of Richard Curtis, Hugh Grant, because they do a lot of films. And I read a review that said the reason I think that they work so well together is that Hugh Grant knows how to play Richard Curtis's script well. And I think that was really well said.
Yes, no, that's fair. He does.
Really
he definitely has a knack for that kind of dialogue, and he does. There are some moments that he does beautifully. I love the whole
the table of X's.
which is fantastic. Yes, and I love the scene where he's trying to escape the couple just married who are banging. And I think it's great. And his excuse is, found my pen.
Found my pen. Yep.
Like he does all that stuff really well. And
he does.
Honestly, they're the best parts in this movie. The parts that
the funny
expose the ridiculousness of this. What it did really well, I think, this movie was find the humor in the kind of the weirdly mundane ritual that is a wedding.
Yeah.
Like, I found it really funny. Just that whole kind of... Well, it starts from the beginning. He's never on time for him. And I love that part
Have you ever been late to a wedding?
No.
Oh, fuck. I have once. And my wife will never let me hear
No, and I can imagine. But I love... and look, the movie actually started off very well, I thought.
Yeah, it did.
I didn't like that opening song. I was like, what the fuck is this song? It's awful. Yeah. And it was like, I was watching all this little vignette of people going to the wedding, and I'm like, well, this is terrible. But then I love that the first scene is basically just them saying fuck a bunch of times. And I was like, okay. So this is, you've caught me, because here I was thinking it's going to be this like tacky fucking thing.
No, that was good.
And you've turned it on its head a little bit.
Yeah.
They did that stuff really well. The scenes where it's just, here's a funny thing that happens at a wedding, I thought was the greatest. Like the conversation with the guy who he's like, how's the girlfriend? Or she's no longer my girlfriend. He's like, oh yeah, it's good because I think she was banging somebody else. And he's like, well, she's my fiance.
You just see him just crawl into himself and die.
Yeah, like those moments where it's just... And I love the conversation about, I don't know what to say in the lineup with the parents, because that's happened to me, and I'm like...
I don't know what to say. You say congratulations.
Yeah. And it's like...
That's it. That's all you have to say.
But I love that conversation where they're like...
That's what I did.
I always feel
that's
so
what
awkward.
I really did love about this movie, and I think that really did it well, is their group of friends. You love their group of friends.
They built a really nice community of family kind of dynamic out of that group of friends. It was so beautiful.
And the fact that they go off to their own little bits of the wedding and then come back and go, okay, how are we going?
Yes,
Is everyone all right?
Exactly.
Is everyone found a wife yet? No?
There were moments where I didn't think some would be at. Like, I didn't think like at... What was her name? Cassie?
Cassie.
I didn't think like Simon Callow and Gareth. Was it Gareth? John Hannah's character? Maybe.
No. Gareth was Simon Callow.
Oh, okay. So, and his partner. I didn't think they would be at her wedding.
Yeah.
And it was actually lovely to see them there. Because, you saw Hugh Grant there and was like, this must be really hard for him. And then he busts through with the champagne and they have that toast about we're going to find our significant others. And I'm like, it's lovely that you are all in this community together.
I loved it.
But they were each really kind of well-drawn characters. They each had their own little thing going on. I really liked...
The brother, even the brother
the deaf
of
brother
Kirsten,
was beautiful.
Oh, no, I was talking about Kirsten Scott Thomas' brother. But him, the deaf brother was... Oh... It was so good.
He was lovely, and the random kind of punk girl that was like, who with the short hair,
his housemate,
who it's like
Scarlett.
You wonder how
she was so good.
How you found this person, how she became part of this very eclectic kind of group of people.
Well, I was talking with my wife when we watched it, and that character, Richard Curtis, obviously has that character in his life because he's written that character in. She's in. Well, similar character like her in About Time, and she's also in what was the other one? Notting Hill.
Sure.
So that character is, I love her. She was so good. Yeah. So just to take it back to Hugh Grant for a second, he was great, and this was the start, like we said before, of his career.
Yes.
But does he play the same character in every movie?
Oh, that's an interesting.
This brings up another topic for me.
Yeah.
Is actors who get stuck in this. Michael Cera definitely is stuck in that thing. He can't. He hasn't done anything in ages. The only thing he's bringing out is, I think he's doing more Arrested Development. Anyway,
it's probably a good thing for him though, because I think he might be trying to distance himself a little bit.
That's the main one for me. The other people have told me that they see this. God damn it! They see the same in Jim Carrey and Will Ferrell's work, which I don't see at all. I think that's ridiculous.
I think back in the day, Jim Carrey, you could have said that about Jim Carrey, but I don't think anymore.
Exactly. But anyway, Michael Cera, Hugh Grant, do they play the same characters every time, Tys? Do you
to a certain degree, because if that's what works, but then they've each managed to find different avenues. I mean, for a certain amount, I went Sean Connery. for a certain amount of time, that was Hugh Grant's bread and butter.
Yeah.
You know, like he
If it's
had
gonna work,
he had a
it's gonna
stint of
work.
about 4 or 5 years where it was like, well, that's what he does, and that's what he does well.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case so much now because you get him popping up in things like A Man from U.N.C.L.E.
He was awesome.
He was in that weird movie, that American Dreams movie.
Oh, yeah, he was.
He
was in, wasn't he in, oh shit, wasn't he in Tom Hanks' Bizarre Planet?
Cloud Atlas.
Cloud
yeah,
Atlas, he was in
Cloud
that,
Atlas,
isn't he?
Yeah. And then he's really great in About a Boy, which is kind of playing on
that
person,
character?
that persona that he had, that kind of that lovable kind of goofball. It's like he plays it up. Well, it's just fantastic. It's just
I've heard it's one of the better
big
ones.
man-child story.
Yeah.
And it works really well.
But yeah, so are we letting actors get away with this? Like,
I think it's okay to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I think if we like actors in a certain role because they're really effective at it, then let them have their time doing that. I think when it goes on for too long, but there has to be an end date,
There's
of
an end
course,
date,
yeah. But that's where the longevity of career comes in. Like people who don't mix it up will never survive. Like
yeah, exactly.
You have to at a certain degree because that will always be the criticism of them.
Tom Hanks play a bad guy. That's all I'm saying.
But see, I think Tom Hanks is a perfect example of the person that has adapted.
Oh, he
over
has.
time.
He's great. I'm just saying,
he could do a full out bad guy.
Fair enough. Well, as long as they're not,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's a matter of choosing appropriately. Like it'd be great to see Tom Hanks be like a legit evil. Because I think he might be in this movie that's coming up. The Circle movie. He's playing like a tech genius kind of guy who runs like a Google style thing.
Okay.
But it looks like there might be some weird kind of like shady shit going on in the background. And Emma Watson is the intern that's going to expose it all. Do you remember that movie Antitrust?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
with Ryan, do you say Philip or do you say Philippe?
Philippe, of course.
Ryan Philippe. It's not a last name.
It seems like it's a bit of that kind of style.
Tim Robbins.
Yeah, Tim Robbins was
I remember
that movie. I want to watch that again because I reckon that would be.
No, you don't.
It would be so funny the way they talk about technology. It would be this.
You know how we were talking about the embodiment of the 90s before?
That movie is 2001.
That movie is 2000s. That is so 2000s where everyone...
Not even, it's a smaller period of time. It's like 1 or 2 years in that bracket and that's it.
Girls were wearing so much glitter and guys were wearing nothing but corduroy pants.
Corduroys? I had a fucking pair of corduroys.
I had
you
5
better
pairs
believe
of
it.
corduroys, yeah.
Oh, they were comfy
Golden.
as fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So
let's talk about... Because there are more than just Hugh Grant that works in this thing.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to talk about my best on ground, who I believe is Simon Callow.
How good is he?
He's wonderful. Wonderful.
Oh,
and
he was my favourite character.
He was my favourite character too.
Yeah.
What happens is, of course, in a movie like this, like you were saying before, we know there's a funeral.
Yeah.
And it was very clear to me who it was going to be.
Really?
From
it caught me
second
by surprise.
No, because as soon as I was like within 5 minutes and I was like, he's my favourite character, he's going to be the one that dies.
Really? How did you guess that? See,
because I just knew that they were going because they make him so easily lovable.
So lovable though.
And look, that's not just in the writing; it's in the performance as well. I think it's a really lovely performance.
Yeah.
And I really like John Hannah as his partner as well.
I love John Hannah.
John Hannah kind of has a weird career in my mind because I haven't seen a lot that he's done, but I know him mostly from The Mummy and from the Spartacus television show.
Oh, right, yep.
Where he was like a real fucking mean guy in that.
Yeah.
And I, every now and then when I see him pop up, I'm like, oh, John Hannah, man.
Yeah.
But in this, he's lovely.
He's
in this,
just beautiful.
He's wonderful, and I think his speech at Simon Callow's funeral is lovely.
Yep.
Simon Callow is doing a really broad comic thing, like he's the big lovable
he's the
bundle of joy, flamboyant kind of gay character, and it's lovely, and I love he's got like a Patrick Stewart-y kind of thing McKellen-y kind of thing where everything is all very regal and
but everyone
proper.
loves him and they go to one of the weddings is a Scottish wedding, and he full drab, not just
and he
a
looks
kilt,
the best too,
full drab, everything. And I did love. I did have to say that that I didn't it took me a while to catch on that him and John Hannah were together.
Oh, I had it immediately.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At the start with the thing, yeah. Because I was kind of like, are they? No, they totally are. But what I did love that the movie did was because they were a part. The gay couple were a part of the circle of friends, but their sexual orientation wasn't a factor. It was literally just normal, and it shouldn't be.
And I was almost waiting for like a scene at the funeral where someone, like where maybe his parents found out that they were actually lovers.
But no, it wasn't.
Because that dad, the guy that was playing the dad at the funeral,
God, yeah.
Looked like he was about to punch somebody at all times.
Didn't he? Yeah.
He didn't look like he was mourning. He looked like he was gonna fucking berserker mode.
Yeah.
And so I was in my mind, because I'm primed for storytelling now. Because you think about how many times you've seen something similar to this, so you start to see the signs, and you're like, oh, the dad's gonna crack it, and it's gonna start this kind of this other plot point that I'm like, no, if I'm 100% for this to happen in this movie.
Didn't happen.
Just
washed
didn't happen
over because it's normal.
But yeah. So yeah, look, they definitely work. That family dynamic works really well.
It made me want friends like that.
Yeah,
that's what that movie did.
Yeah, and that's good. It didn't hurt that he was apparently the 7th richest person in Britain or whatever. And I'm like, holy shit, I want that guy as a friend.
It's amazing.
That's fucking. I love how he's like, just come and stay in our castle.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, God, I want a friend like that. That'd be amazing.
So but yeah,
it's not
4 weddings and a funeral. Oscar nominated.
I honestly just don't see it. I can see the screenplay to a degree because it is quite witty. It's super British though. Like it's very.
It is. It was very British.
It's exactly what I imagine.
The hats,
like when I'm like, British comedy. Like I'm not the hugest fan of British comedy because
really?
I like their absurdist stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like I love that kind of stuff,
about?
like Monty Python.
Oh, okay.
Like Fawlty Towers. The stuff where because they have a really great ability to turn it up and keep turning it up.
Yep.
I don't love their just situational comedy very much.
Oh, okay.
Like so, I won't enjoy something like, As Time Goes By, or Only Fools and Horses. Like all those old school British sitcoms.
Yep.
For me, it's like if I want to watch a British thing, it'll be
The Office.
Even more so, Black Books, Mighty Boosh, like the stuff where it's just taking it on this completely absurdist train.
Spaced
is great. It's like the Simon Pegg kind of style stuff. Whereas this felt a little bit just kind of like we're just like, oh, isn't
but
that?
It was very English.
Delightful? Yes.
Oh, hello. How are you going?
Yeah, and some of it works for me. Sometimes it doesn't.
Didn't realize you own the entire country. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Exactly, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which sells it in the performance, but for me, it doesn't. It's not a benchmark of exceptionally good writing for me.
Yeah.
And
best original screenplay
I find kind of a bit amazing that it really is
but you think now it must have been a slow year. 90s.
Maybe, but if we think about it though, 94 was Pulp Fiction year. So I don't think it could have been that.
No, well
actually.
it was the Oscars of 95. But
so when we're talking about this Oscar thing, like the best screenplay thing blows my mind,
right?
Because really, I think you've blown your female lead, like in the writing. I think you've kind of.
But I don't think at this point they were going for. I know what you're going to say. I don't think they were going for the best actor, best.
No,
actress,
but it's part of the screenplay. Like, it's the story.
Oh, right,
so
right.
To me, to kind of betray your female lead and make her not likable like that, is when everything about this movie tells me that I should like her.
Yeah, we as an audience should like her.
Yeah,
but
but textually, it's kind of impossible to like her.
Morally.
Yeah, but like that's maybe other people have different moral interpretations and can see past that and stuff like that. But
sure.
But that's a textual fact about her, and that means that you are going to alienate certain people.
Yeah.
And the fact that there aren't really, there are jokes in it, but most of it is just kind of like there's that really awkward scene where they're talking about the word scooch or something. What do they say? Slunk. So you're gonna slink.
Oh, slink. Yeah,
slink
that was
or something.
awkward.
Hang on, I wrote down the word.
Skulk.
Skulk. And I'm like, oh, this isn't working at all. This whole sequence is this
bad.
It's kind of playing on the word skulk, and I don't usually skulk. I'm not a skulking person.
Why don't you come into my room and skulk?
It's just kind of like, nah,
fuck off.
None of it's working for me.
Yeah.
So yet it still gets, and I think overall this was the effect of its like popularity, I think, more than anything, because it is a Richard Curtis thing. People acknowledge Richard Curtis as a very good writer. I mean, you look at his CV, mostly television stuff, really. But if you name a television show that you love, a British television show you love, he probably wrote it. You know, like I can't tell you how many times I've seen like Mr. Bean episodes.
Oh yeah,
and
he's the
and marveled at the writing in that, because it is so simple but so effective.
Yeah.
Yet this just doesn't, to me, do it at all. And the Best Picture thing just blows my mind. That is 100%. That is a factor of box office and popularity, and like. But even like the BAFTAs, it cleaned up at the BAFTAs.
Oh, did
it? And this kind of like. So I think it was a product of its time. I don't think it holds up to other romantic comedies, really.
No, not really.
Not the good ones. I'd watch
name...
When Harry Met Sally a bazillion times before I watch this again. Sleepless in Seattle, I'd watch a bazillion times before this again.
Yeah.
Like the great ones.
Bridget Jones and
I think Bridget Jones' Diary is a better film than this.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Notting Hill, so I can't say.
Notting Hill's better.
I feel like, you know,
I like bad ones. I like Wimbledon. I like Hitch. I like Hitch. I like Hitch. That's how bad, you know.
Yeah.
And I would prefer to watch Hitch than this. Oscar nommed.
So this was films that it was up against for Best Picture. It was up against The Shawshank Redemption.
Oh!
It was up against Quiz Show.
Yep.
It was up against Pulp Fiction. And the winner was Forrest Gump.
I thought the winner was Braveheart.
No, that was 96. That was a year later.
That was a year later.
So you're talking three other films there that are
you have no chance,
almost
man.
Masterpieces. I don't know how long it's been since you've seen Quiz Show, but Quiz Show.
I've never seen
it.
It's
fucking great.
Yeah, I've heard it's well, that's the thing, Tys. It's on my list.
Yeah, it's on the list.
Yeah.
But you know, you've got two films that are in the conversation of best film of all time.
Yeah.
This was never going to win.
No.
I'm amazed that it's in the conversation.
Yeah.
And you've got films in other categories like Ed Wood, which I think is kind of, you know,
like
which
Ed
is
Wood.
Probably maybe Burton's best film, maybe.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Bullets Over Broadway, which is maybe my favorite Woody Allen. Yeah, so look, it blows my mind that it was so well received, because to me it just feels like another kind of
it's
another
just
romantic
another
comedy.
Film. Yeah.
You know, I can watch not that it's a better film by any stretch, but I watch something like My Best Friend's Wedding, which is a pretty awful film, really. But I think I'll enjoy it more.
Yeah. Oh no, I'd probably watch this over that.
You
but
reckon?
I'm not gonna jump out. Like, sorry, I'm not gonna. It has Annie McDowell in it. Sorry.
Oh, poor old Annie McDowell.
No, don't poor old Annie McDowell.
No, look, she was alright in Groundhog Day. I'll give her that. She has my.
It's because she was standing next to Bill Murray there.
And everything with Bill Murray is better.
Yeah.
But yeah, so look, that's probably.
All right, that was it.
That might be it, man. There were some other interesting things about it.
Not really for me. I'm
I
out.
just want to
My
make
list is
sure
done.
that.
My list.
What do you think of his last romantic speech, though?
In the Rain?
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
Okay. that tells me all I need to know.
That tells you all you need to know.
I actually thought, like, his, you know, every movie has
the rain
the
scene.
You Complete Me.
Yeah, the rain
It's got
scene.
something it needs to compete with.
Yeah.
What is the
Jerry
line?
Maguire,
What is the speech?
I'd watch that, Tyson.
Yeah, Jerry Maguire's not a romantic comedy, though. I think that's it's not a comedy.
It is.
It makes me laugh, but it's a romantic drama.
Show me the money, Tyson. Show me the money.
Drama?
It's a comedy, Tyson.
Okay.
You put it in romantic comedy.
No.
You know why? It has that line. You complete me. That says that is a romantic comedy, that movie.
Romantic drama. It's got a great romantic speech. I don't doubt that.
But it's a drama. It's not a comedy.
Well, I do laugh in it.
Exactly. You laugh a lot more than you did in this.
I do laugh a lot more than
there
I do in
you
this.
go.
But I can't. Yeah, I can't. It's funny though, because I can't bring myself to call it a romantic comedy.
Why not?
Yet I would laugh more in that than I did for Weddings and a Funeral,
There you go.
which I will happily call a romantic comedy.
Exactly.
Isn't that funny?
Shouldn't that change your mind?
No, doesn't.
No. Good stuff.
But yeah, I actually thought it was pretty good. It's no You Complete Me. It's nothing. No,
Yeah.
not even close.
Yeah.
It's no. So like, okay, so When Harry Met Sally, like it's got a killer end line as well. You realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody. You want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. Like it's a beautiful line, and stuff like that.
True.
It's a lovely
That's
speech that leads up to it.
Beautiful.
This one was not bad. Like it actually wasn't bad. And even though I was sitting there going, I don't like either of you characters. I'm done with both of you.
When is this going to end?
They kind of deserve each other. And so I'm like, at the end there, I'm kind of like,
oh, that's kind of nice. Well done.
Enjoy your misery together, you two.
Have fun. She is going to leave you.
She's probably going to leave you. You're probably going to...
But that's fine. Have fun.
Have an anxiety attack because you're already on the verge of, anxiety break. Like and that's something that, Hugh Grant does very well is the
how floppy was his hair?
Oh my God.
How
so
90s
floppy.
was his hair?
Oh man.
It was hilarious.
How bad was that outfit he was wearing when he went to shop for the wedding present? He had like a weird, like gross Hawaiian shirt that looked kind of like...
That's right. And he had like 3/4 pants.
He had shorts, dirty shorts, but they weren't like, they were like cargo shorts.
That's right.
And like boots almost.
I don't know.
And I'm like, what is this outfit?
It was weird.
And it's in Britain because it's only probably 17 degrees outside.
Exactly.
And he's like, oh, gotta get the shorts on.
Get the shorts out.
No.
No.
Anyway, 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
4 Weddings and Funeral.
I feel like we need to start doing some kind of wrap up.
Or a rating?
I don't want to rate, but just like a would watch again, wouldn't watch again.
All right, there you go. Let's do that. I like that. I would never watch this again.
I don't think I'm ever going to watch it again. Yeah, I think I'm done. I think I can tick it off. It's
done.
It's not on the list anymore. No longer on the list.
People go, oh, you seen 40 Weddings and a Funeral?
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
That's basically the end of that conversation.
Exactly.
I think if anyone says, oh, what'd you think? Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, no. Moving on. Have you seen Deadpool 2? Yes, I have. Fucking amazing.
Anyway, so we're going to move on
to
our mailbag tonight.
Mailbag.
Mailbag.
That was good.
We got a ripper of a mailbag
We
tonight.
do.
It's bursting at the seams.
Seamsy.
With letters and tweets and emails. So we're going to knock off a few.
Go on
tonight. It's going to be fun.
What are we going to start with?
Well, I'm going to start with probably the heaviest topic we will talk about tonight.
Yeah,
I think.
We'll start with the heavy one.
Yeah, let's do that because it's nice to finish with some lighter touch conversation.
Go on.
So we're going to talk about. Oh, hang on.
Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh
okay.
my God.
All right, so we've got an email here from friend of the podcast, Nicole. Hi, it's Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Love the podcast so far. Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks, Nicole.
After seeing Hidden Figures and having a discussion about female-centric movies on the way home, my friend Emily, friend of the podcast Emily, passed me an article on Vulture that on the back of Logan is discussing the movie trope of literally strong female characters. The article is called What's Behind Pop Culture's Love for Silent, Violent Little Girls, and it's written by Emily Yoshida. As an avid reader, one of the worst things I came across is male authors falling into bad habits regarding their female characters. They use the same personalities and characterizations within a series and across multiple unrelated series, rather than attempting a well-rounded and unique characterization for each new character. Within movies, something that seems to happen consistently is using a strong, ass-kicking female character who doesn't speak typically because of some sort of trauma. Examples the article raises include the character Laura from Logan, Lilu from Fifth Element, River Tam from Serenity, and Eleven from Stranger Things. They also thought another we thought of on the way home was Gobo Yubari from Kill Bill, and I'm sure there's more. I thought it would be interesting to hear your take on this. Is it genuine storytelling or is it laziness? How does it work with all these big action films that have relegated all their female characters to the background and have people forgotten that you can have a kick-ass female hero who will have a personality and people will still love it? We're talking our Ellens, Ripley, our Sarah Connor, Sydney in the Scream films, The Bride, Gina Davis in Long Kiss Goodnight, all the final girls in various horror films. Anyways, enjoying all the podcasts. Cheers, Nick. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nicole.
We're so glad to have people emailing in. It really makes my day. And with such a thoughtful and insightful topic that I'm sure we will not do justice of at all. But what do you think, Nick?
Well,
let's start by saying we've read the article. We've since gone and read the article.
We have,
which I think raises an interesting point of discussion.
It does. It's just it's. I don't think it's a problem. I was waiting in reading the article. I was waiting for there to be that silent, violent female character that didn't do the character justice. That's what I was looking for. Which I feel that.
Yes. I get what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean? It wasn't really brought up.
None of the examples given do it in a way that feels manipulative or exploitive.
Exactly.
They all seem quite organic to the storytelling.
Yeah.
And in most of those scenarios as well, they're the most powerful character.
Yeah.
Within the story.
But I think what Nicole is trying to say is why can't she be powerful and also have a lot of dialogue? Why does she always have to be traumatized to the point of silence? And it's a good point. I don't know why. Do I like it? I do for now. It hasn't really... there hasn't been a bad character where it's just become, you're that pop icon sensation, where you're just that violent character. Sure.
That's kind of where I was going with it as well, is the sense that none of these characters are silent in a way that exploits their weaknesses.
Yeah.
Or are using their femininity as a weakness in their silence. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like the guy that there is a masculine component to that story that is silencing her.
That's true.
That she is not stronger than.
That's true.
Yeah, in all of these stories, if by chance there has been a masculine influence, they have then become stronger than that.
The female character is stronger than that.
They are stronger than
they
that
are always
in the context of the story.
Yeah.
I definitely get where the article's coming from. I find the article has some flaws in its it has good points, examples.
It
has. I think the concept is a good point and something that I really hope I will definitely keep an eye out on.
Yeah.
And I will if
it's brought up a good
as it comes up, I will be much more aware of it.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying, I don't, like you mentioned before, I don't think it's the problem yet.
I don't think it's
been described
exactly.
as.
Yeah.
I think.
So until they do a character where they're literally putting in that silent, violent female character just cause, and they're not balancing it out throughout the rest of the female cast, I guess. I guess that's where you're kind of getting it with Logan, because she is the only female character. Oh no, there were the mutants in the woods.
There's some, mutant kids, and there's the wife of the family who's a beautiful character as well, and her death is obviously super sad.
But yeah, until they do, until someone comes out with a character who doesn't have a lot of dialogue, who does fit what we're talking about, and doesn't do the movie justice, is kind of thrown in there just cause. I'm feeling that
if it ever feels like we're doing the whole thing where her silence is more a convenience for... It's that whole kind of age-old, better seen, not heard.
Yeah.
If it ever feels like that old 1950s attitude, that we're making her this tough, strong female character, but we don't want to hear her talk. We don't need to hear her opinions on things. If that's ever the case, then we know we've got a serious problem.
Absolutely.
I think in each of these examples, and I mean, using someone like River Tam as an example, I think is not a clever, example to use, because
Joss loves his female characters, and
Joss Whedon is
in throughout Firefly. He fills every one of those female characters,
and she does mention that in the article.
She does,
which then I find kind of interesting, as then why bring it up in the first place, because that's not really. That's not backing up your argument, because you're
better off talking about the girl in Logan or 11 from Stranger Things.
11 from Stranger Things.
There was really no reason for 11 not to talk. Do you know what I mean? Sure, you can kind of blame the traumatization of her getting out of the hospital, but there wasn't really a reason for her not to talk. She just didn't talk. And maybe that's okay. Maybe you don't have people who talk. Because I know you don't. I don't know how, but some people don't.
Yes. Yeah. Look. Okay. So, in some ways, it's like, yes. I mean, what's the big deal?
Yep.
It's a storytelling element. Yeah. We've decided that we're going to introduce this character who is.
It's just a contrast, rather than have everyone talking.
Well, why is it always the girl?
Yeah,
Is it ever a boy?
That's the thing. Can we think of boy roles?
I guess. Well,
we need
Mad Max, the Road Warrior.
Well.
There's a troubled kid in that who kind of he kind of makes barking noises and stuff.
That's true. Yeah. Not really traumatized.
So he's totally That's from trauma though. That's totally trauma.
That's from trauma. The only other thing that I can think of, which is not the greatest, but is Waterworld.
Yeah.
He doesn't speak a lot.
No.
And he's a male character, but
also none of these examples are completely silent.
That's true.
And their dialogue is actually used to great effect because it
emphasizes
more weight on what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because if they choose that this is important enough to say out loud, it's in its storytelling element. It's worthwhile.
Yeah.
Look, there may very well be a problem here.
It could be
because we are struggling to find male equivalents of it. And I don't think
it's a problem yet, though. It could be a problem.
It only becomes a serious problem when it doesn't serve the storytelling honestly.
Yes.
When it feels manipulative or exploitive, that's when that's when the problem really will start to show itself.
And as Nicole said in the letter, like if it's slack writing, it doesn't feel like slack writing yet.
Not from any of these examples.
No,
I don't think. I think in Firefly, I think it's very clever writing,
good, yeah.
Because it's only really revealed in the movie just how what actually happened to her.
Yeah.
And like I said, you're surrounded by these other strong and like probably
really colourful,
the most courageous characters in that.
characters.
Like I would say that Zoe is the most courageous character in that story. I think Mal is.
Yeah, she's the leader.
Mal's the kind of the rogue. He's the Han Solo.
Yeah.
Zoe's the heart and the moral center of that story. She's the strong-willed character.
Oh, I want to watch that.
Yeah, and like let's use Logan for an example as far as writing goes. I don't think. I mean, so X-23 existed before the movie existed. It was a female.
Yep.
In this context, they were obviously trying to give Logan a paternal instinct.
Yes.
They want to explore his paternal side.
Yep.
And they already have a character.
And rather than do it than a son,
rather than turn X-23 into a son, which then would raise the question, well, why make it a boy?
Exactly.
They've taken the character as it already exists that was cloned from his DNA.
Yep.
And given her now she plays the role of the daughter, which essentially she kind of is. So, I mean, is it slack writing if it existed already?
Yeah, even before.
Or was that a product of this problem? Probably not.
Probably not. I don't think so.
It's related.
I think X-23 was written a long time before silent violent characters came along.
Or maybe before it became
such a pop culture thing
prevalent enough to actually ask this question.
Exactly.
Like if it was twice in 20 years, you wouldn't be asking this question.
That's true.
There is a certain amount of regularity to it, which does. I think the question is definitely worth posing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a nice conversation to have because it kind of does make you think about this kind of stuff.
Like it is a thing.
It definitely is a thing.
She's hit something.
But also, and I don't know if this reflects poorly on me, but generally, I love the characters.
I like those characters too. Yeah.
But what is that? I hope that doesn't say anything
bad about us,
negatively about us, because my favorite part of Stranger Things was 11. I think she was the best character in that.
Yeah.
Oh, and also the kid with the fuzzy hair.
Mine was him and Barb.
I
love Barb.
See, like what's
the
thing with Barb is funny, and it's a good little internet thing. But she's in the show for like 20 minutes.
Excuse
Let's just calm
me.
down. She does nothing.
Barb. Okay, we were all Barb at one point.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
But yeah, I do love those characters. Go-Go is one of my favorite characters in the Kill Bill
Go-Go is
series.
an incredible, is very effective.
Yeah.
In Kill Bill.
Very scary.
Like super scary.
Yeah.
But all right, look.
Hopefully we answered your question, Nicole.
We didn't answer it at all.
We tried.
But I think, it's a discussion worth having. And
it is.
And I like having discussions.
Thank you for bringing it to us.
So we thank you.
Yeah.
We're going to lighten things up a little bit.
Let's do it.
Friend of the podcast, Reardon Jones.
Oh.
Hi, Reardon.
Hi, Reardon.
Now that the third Wonder Woman trailer has premiered.
Oh, Reardon.
How do we think things are going to go with this?
Reardon.
Thanks, Reardon.
Thanks, Reardon. I didn't watch it, Reardon, because I can't. I've said before that I don't like. I'm only because I'm excited about Wonder Woman. Okay, and I understand that Tys has made it abundantly clear that if we are going to have this podcast, I need to do what the audience says, and that is fine. I'm cool with that. But I can't watch this because I've got a glint of hope for Wonder Woman. In answering your question, for starters, I didn't watch the third trailer. Did you watch it, Tys?
Yeah, I've seen the third trailer.
I didn't watch it because I feel that I'm going to see everything. I'm going to see the movie in this third trailer. And that's how, and I don't want to ruin it for myself. Tyson?
No, it's okay. It's still...
Really?
It's still keeping a lid on it. You still don't know who the main villain is of the film.
Oh.
You still don't know where the majority of the film is going to take place. It's still got a very kind of like, is this going to be the focus, or is this going to be the focus? Is this going to be just a little prologue? Or,
okay.
It's called the Origin trailer.
Oh.
Right? And it spends a little bit more time with
explaining
where she came showing
from.
elements of that, but it doesn't show us any storytelling elements yet.
Okay. All right then.
I am not as confident as I once was.
Aha.
The first trailer I thought was quite good.
It was kick-ass.
And it had some really cool stuff going on.
Floor and lasso action. It was awesome.
Yeah, she's definitely given that lasso a go.
Yeah.
Which is great, because it is kind of a lame weapon, and so it's good that they're embracing it and making it cool.
It's not lame. If you read the comics, it's got so much power.
But it could be lame in a film format. It could be very hard to make it work.
They're going to make it better.
Yeah, I think they are going to make it work. Well, the first couple of trailers, right?
Go on.
It had this atmosphere like it was going to move away from the things that I haven't liked so far.
Okay, yep.
And it looked colourful, and it looked
fresh.
It looked fresh and light.
Yeah.
And not like funny light, but like...
No.
And I don't mean like physically light. I don't mean that either. Like there are more lights on it. I mean light in a fluffiness. No, that's not not it.
No, light as in not
sludge.
Yeah.
Not dragging me down into this 2.5 hour slog. It felt like the kind of movie that I would float on and
exactly.
watch,
but
where the storytelling would just be so easy and it would just happen.
Exactly. And not a table of producers who have come around and going, we need to make it Nolan-esque.
It felt nimble.
Nimble
on its feet.
You don't need to make it Nolan-esque.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. That's done. That's played out. That's done its thing.
No, but I feel that they're going to do that.
Look, and everyone tries that. It's fine.
Sure.
So that first trailer kind of had me excited. The second one, much of the same. It was fine. A couple of extra shots, and then this third one, unfortunately, has kind of had the opposite effect. I feel it's starting to feel like some of the worst elements of Zack Snyder visually is starting to creep in. It feels a lot. I can feel like the darkness of the environments. There's still some color in it, but I don't think it's just about color. I think it's about the lived in feel of the environment. It doesn't feel lived in.
Yeah.
It feels like
very CG.
A Zack Snyder CG environment.
Nothing that you can grab a hold of.
Things are starting to get that, that weird kind of glowing effect that everything in The Hobbit had, to kind of, to emulate sunlight hitting things.
Or even the start of Man of Steel, where it was 20 minutes on Krypton, and you were like, what the fuck?
I'm starting to see elements of that creep in, where this kind of false light, like anything that's metal has this really illegitimate glow to it, and I'm like, shots that I thought were cool before, I'm now seeing in a different kind of context, and they appear just to be kind of cool shots for the sake of a cool shot.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, that worked better as a 1 second
okay,
snippet. Now when I see the 6 seconds on either side of it, it is now less effective.
Exactly.
I still have high hopes, but it's funny because, you watch a trailer like that and you kind of go, I don't know. And it happened to be at the same time I watched the Coco trailer immediately after.
Right, okay.
And it was amazing the different effect that a good trailer can have. And it actually reflected back on Wonder Woman trailer because I was kind of like, oh, it was okay. Yeah, am I slightly worried now? Oh, I don't know.
Exactly.
Watched that, realized how effective a good trailer can be, and then went, no, that trailer's kind of, that
balls.
trailer didn't do
you
it.
Ballsed it up.
It didn't
exactly.
do it. So, I don't know.
So to answer Reedon's question, I'm going to say I think this is the last glimmer of hope that DC has. I really do. That's not to say that I'm not going to see Justice League. I will see it because my favorite superhero is Superman, so I feel that I need to. In order to have an opinion as well.
Yeah.
But I feel that Wonder Woman is their last chance to sell us that the DC world isn't as wrecked as we think it is.
I'm gonna try not to put too much weight on it. I think that's gonna be dangerous for it.
Hard,
I think
though.
I'm gonna try not to go in because Wonder Woman isn't as I'm not as close to it as a character as I was to Batman and Superman.
Yeah.
So there was no way I was going into Batman vs Superman without anything but this movie needs to be brilliant because it's so important to me. But
it's a versus.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. These are the two such
characters,
important, these two characters. So this movie has a lot of responsibility.
Yep.
This film doesn't have as much responsibility for me, and I think it's better that I don't put that weight on it because then I think I might enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah, fair deal.
And then I'll see what happens with Justice League, which then does have the weight on it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
This movie does have a little bit of weight for me, only because I've seen the slog of this movie trying to come to light ever since Joss Whedon had written the first script for Wonder Woman, and that was going to be a thing. And this is the first superhero female lead film of this generation.
Yeah. Do you know what
I mean? Think of another one.
Just trying to think back to see if it was maybe in the old...
Catwoman does not count. Catwoman Halle Berry does not count.
No.
Elektra does not count. Those were clear spin-offs. Those were taking a character, and this is... Wonder Woman is the icon. The female icon for strong
instead
women.
of taking a secondary character from a male story and making
Do
a
you know
movie
what I mean?
about it,
Exactly.
This is a
this
female
is the strong
story.
She doesn't have she's not the sidekick. She's not a spin-off. She's not a love interest of a male. This is Wonder Woman. This is the female.
I'll pay that.
And that's why this has so much gravitas for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I hope it does well. I really do.
Yeah, look, I'm quietly not confident, but confident at the same time.
You hit it on the nose. No, you're on point.
Hit it on the point. I hit it on the head of the nail. No,
we're going to move on.
They're all wrong. We got one more.
One more from the mailbag.
Oh, mailbag. It's bursting at the seams.
I had a mailbag song. It was like, Tys is going to... No, it was... Oh, it's gone. Damn it.
Can I fit in another gag about my sack at some point?
Oh, that was funny. That was funny. We're going to go through Tys's sack.
No. So our last email for tonight.
Go on.
It's from another Nick.
Oh, another Nick.
Another Nick.
Nicole, Nick, and Nick.
Yeah, something about the name.
Yeah. They're drawn to it. Go for it. In Tys's sack.
Here is the email.
Oh.
One of the saddest things that I think has happened is the demise of video stores and the demise of the Friday night movie. Is that so many people are missing out on seeing, at the right age, amazing movies that would have been on free-to-air movie nights or that you would have hired at the video store as a weekly rental. One of these, for me, is Batteries Not Included. Yeah. Would love for you guys to discuss this movie or movies of the sort Others that I can think of from when I was little would be the Chipmunks movie, the cartoon where the hot balloon race around the world with some killer tunes, or the Jetsons movie. There are also ones that when I was older, but the only one I can think of right now is Daylight. # the dog survives.
Daylight as in
Cheers.
Stallone.
As
Daylight.
in Stallone.
That's awesome.
So look, that's a really fun question. Well, not really a question; it's a statement, but we'll respond.
We'll totally respond.
Because we both worked in video stores.
We did, didn't we, Tys?
We did. We had quite a stint in video stores.
We were talking about it before as it wasn't really a job for us, Tyson, was it?
No.
We kind of just hung out and told people about the films that we liked.
I was being paid to research what I love.
Yeah.
Basically.
And the fact that we got free movies means we could...
Yes, or free-ish.
Free-ish.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to take one home.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing. It's kind of like everyone's like, oh, I bet you can just take anything you want. And I was like, no, there are so many rules.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I can take a weekly home overnight as long as it's returned before we open again. So I don't know how free that is.
Yeah,
like
there
are some real fucking, but
I was allowed to take one home for longer than that, as long as there was more than one copy, and that was fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
well, that's not
so that was okay.
That's okay.
But yeah, I understand what Nick's saying, because the first thing when I read this email, the first thing that came to my mind, which I still want to pick up at JB for my kids, is the stop motion animation Christmas, the reindeer and
Rudolph
and the snowman.
Yeah,
those things always came on free to air television. You always saw them at Christmas.
Such clear memories of watching those.
You always did.
Apparently, I've only seen clips of them since then. They're really fucked up. Have you gone back to watch them recently?
Really?
Yeah,
Why? What
they're
happens?
Real fucked up. Yeah, the Rudolph one, it's got like the abominable snowman, and it's got that weird lumberjack guy in it.
No, I don't remember shit.
Remember any of this?
Really?
It's really fucked up.
Is it a bit early Disney days, where it was a little racially charged?
No, it's actually not inappropriate that way, which is actually good. It's just kind of fucked up.
Oh, it's just fucked.
It's just kind of like, oh, we're going to tell the normal story of Rudolph, and isn't it cute? He's got a red nose,
but he gets bullied.
But now we've got, a giant snow monster and a weird lumberjack that wants to kill the snow monster, and it gets kind of crazy.
It's full scary 80s. I'm in.
Yeah.
Kids.
What were they called? 80s. Rankin and Bass or something, with a company that released them. I think something like that. I think.
But I need to get them. But that's the type of things that the video store, would. They would get a massive turnover during Christmas time.
Yeah,
things
huge,
like that.
Huge. Yeah, God, see.
What were the other ones?
Well, there's two. Okay, so there's two eras. There was the time when I worked at a video store, which was really kind of, I'd just watch anything. I think we've kind of talked about this. I would just take anything home and I'd give it a watch.
But
and I saw some things that I probably would never have had the opportunity to see.
Exactly.
And movies that I think back now and go, wow, I can't believe I've seen that movie. Considering some of the things I haven't seen in my life.
4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Like, I'd never seen 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but that's the best thing about going to the going to the video store on a Friday night. The cover enticed you. That's why, if you had a beautifully drawn cover rather than floating fucking heads,
yes,
it would be like, oh, that looks really good. Let's get that.
100%.
Cover of Gremlins, man, as if you're not in.
Yeah, wow.
I'm in.
This is... So there was an era where I watched pretty much anything that had anything to do with kickboxing or fighting.
That's awesome.
Obviously there's the popular ones like Bloodsport and Kickboxer and all that stuff, but random things like King of the Kickboxers.
Oh my God.
Like these real kind of B grade action movies, like the American Ninja series and stuff like that.
That's
so
awesome.
That would get a big watch. There was one from when I was a kid that I used to rent every time at the Eltham Family Video whenever we went there.
Yeah.
And I've never seen it ever again.
Yep.
It was called Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future.
Good Lord.
Right? And I remember it so... I have certain memories of it so vividly.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the plot or anything like that. The funny thing was, all I could remember is that the ending felt not like an ending.
Yeah.
It felt like kind of like I want there to be more. And it wasn't until Google became a thing that I could go, fuck, what was that show? It was actually the pilot of a television show. The first 2 episodes were on a VHS as a movie-length episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't that look like the greatest fucking thing ever? We're going to put up a photo of that. We're going to put up a photo, yeah. Because it does look like the best fucking thing ever. Look how awesome that looks. And so it's a TV series. It was, so it was the first 2 episodes. So of course it was not, didn't feel like a complete movie. Oh, okay. I used to rent that every time we went to the video store and watch it. Yeah, I fucking loved it. But how could you not with a name like that? Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. That's badass.
How great. And 6-year-old me, because, we'll see when you see the picture, but the character is like, it's kind of like...
almost like a
Robocop-ish kind of
Power
helmet
Rangers,
and like a breastplate made of steel
good.
and... and he's shooting a laser and just looks like the most fun ever.
My which is this is the thing, you're not going to get these movies unless you really know about them, or you know someone who tells you about them, or you listen to a podcast and they tell you about them.
Yeah, that's it.
One of my favorite movies that I used to rent non-stop from the video store, same as Captain Power and the what was
Soldiers of the Future.
That's amazing. Was it was a Disney family. You know how Disney did live action, so they did the Love Bug and all those things. Yeah. It was called Midnight Madness, and it was Michael J. Fox's first film.
Oh,
and it had the guy John. Oh, what was his name? Norton. What was the lead guy from American Werewolf in London? Norton something. Anyway, it had him in it as the lead. Anyway, the storyline was about these 5 groups of kids. They were kids, but they were clearly in their 30s.
David Norton.
And they all get to go around the city. I think the city is clearly LA. And they're in cars and they all have teams and they have to do puzzles and things like that in order to get to the end. It's called The Great All-Nighter or whatever. Anyway... You can't get that in Australia. I had to get that on Amazon. And I ran that movie into the ground. I love that movie. And now my wife loves that movie.
That's amazing. I have heard of this movie before.
Have you really?
Yeah.
I have never heard of any, apart from me, my brother, and my brother's friend Daniel Beach. Apart from us 3, but we showed Daniel, so it doesn't really count.
It was actually talked about in one of the podcasts I listened to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I believe it came out in 1980. Let me double check that. And they were doing a thing
Midnight
about
Madness,
it. Does,
man.
And they were doing a bit of a retrospective thing about 1980.
I loved it. I loved it so much.
Yeah. Well, see, isn't it funny? Because there are these weird... this is what Nick was mentioning. The forgotten movies. Yeah. Movies that just... You'll never be able to track down.
You'll never track down. It won't be on Netflix.
No, it'll never pop up.
Sometimes
the best you can expect for some of these is to be able to maybe see a clip on it on YouTube or to find a VHS on Amazon or something that someone's selling for $60.
And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still a collector. I have Midnight Madness. Can you borrow it? No. Can Tys borrow it? Of course he can.
But see, this is, and lots of people like... I know of people that are getting rid of their collections and moving completely to digital.
A friend of mine did that. I said, can I have a look at your collection before you throw it away?
100%.
Oh my God.
As soon as I hear of anyone saying that they're selling their DVDs, they're selling their old VHS, my first instinct is...
When can I come over?
Can you just wait a second and let me come and have a look at them?
Yeah.
Because I want to... I love that stuff. Exactly. I love being able to... And I know that...
But you're going to throw out stuff that you can't get anymore.
That's it.
It's not going to be available.
My copies of whatever now might seem ridiculous, but in 20 years, I love the idea that I'm going to be able to go back and look at my
extended cut of Waterworld.
Yeah. There you go. I've heard that a director's cut's pretty cool.
No, it's awful.
Oh, okay. But whatever it is, I love that I can do that.
Exactly.
That I'll be able to have that in my hand and have it. Like I've got the old VHS special edition of Titanic. So when they first released it, it's in this box. It's got film cell in it. It's got postcards.
Nice.
It's on 2 VHS because it was so long that you had to put it on 2 VHS.
That is hilarious, really?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That thing, I will always will always be like this important to me. It'll be like this thing that I will carefully unbox it and be like, look at this cool stuff that it came with.
I know that they've redone, this was another one I was talking about my friend with, that I never watched and I'm going to watch soon because of the new series, is Twin Peaks. I never watched Twin Peaks. That wasn't something that I just never got around to. But at the video store, because it was a TV series, I think there were 5 or 6 or 7, and the spine made a picture. Amazing.
The spine.
If you have that VHS collection,
I have the entirety of Buffy series 1 and 2.
Oh, yep.
On VHS with matching spines. It makes one big giant picture. But it's fucking cool.
You don't have that anymore. Like, I do love that they've, another friend of mine who is a huge Twin Peaks fan, Sonia, when we were at JB Hi-Fi and Twin Peaks came out on Blu-ray the beautiful, they really put effort in and made some really cool features with that. And, that's beautiful, but you're not going to get the spine.
And look, I'm loving what's happening at the moment. We've taken this on a completely different track, but it's cool. What I like at the moment is because now we're in a state where the digital medium is kind of taking over.
Yep.
There's this kind of resurgence of smaller DVD companies that are releasing really kick-ass special editions of stuff. Like you've got Scream Factory doing all these cult movies with these new artwork, and the special features that they're finding are really great. Yeah. They're really they're putting in all this effort. They're getting, movies that had people in them that we haven't heard of for 40 years. They're getting the lead character in and they're doing a commentary or doing an interview and stuff like that. And
just a retrospective, to be honest.
Exactly. And it's now become cool again for collectors because when everyone was buying DVDs and Blu-rays, they were just putting out shit with nothing on it. There are so many movies that I love that I don't own because I've never wanted to buy the release that is available here. Or the cover looks like balls.
Yes.
Or it's not in widescreen. Or something. And I'm just like, well, I'm not going to buy that. I'll wait till I find a good version of it.
Jurassic Park is like an all-time... It is everyone has seen Jurassic Park. The cover is balls. It is so boring and balls. It's got the book icon of the T-Rex shadowed, which is fine. But in the background, it's just kind of like boring flames or just not even like leaves that are auburn leaves, and piss off. You can do so much better for such an iconic movie.
Well, what I'd want more than anything is just the black screen with the logo on it. That's
black cover and just the logo. That's it. Like, exactly. Just like Tim Burton's first Batman. Sorry,
which looks fucking badass. Yeah. But so there are so many things that I didn't buy in that period because it was not worth owning because I thought, well, I'm going to have to own it again anyway.
Exactly.
But now, because people don't buy like physical media anymore, they are picking up their game. They're putting in the effort to make it worth buying.
Exactly.
And for me,
so they should have.
Who is like a collector, like you, who is a collector, it's a good time to be collecting.
Exactly.
Because and it's not super expensive either. Like you can get really good special editions of stuff.
Exactly.
For cheap.
Yeah.
Like while we were at JB the other day, there was a company, a local company, Umbrella Entertainment. I will give a shout out to because they do really good stuff.
They do good stuff.
You could pick up 2 different Lucio Fulci old school classic horror movies.
Yeah.
I could have got 3 of them for $30.
That's right.
$20. 3 of them for $20.
Yeah.
And each of them were littered with special features.
Many special features.
I'm like, that's fucking amazing, man. Where else am I going to be able to find this weird, like, bizarre Italian horror movie that 3 people in the store, like in Australia, would have heard of?
Exactly.
With all this extra stuff, I can just walk down the shop and buy these. So that's a pretty cool time to be collecting. To be honest,
you get me quite easily as well. Especially because what you were saying, once DVDs were being sold, they just threw out whatever and people would buy them.
Yeah,
because it was the next medium. Now that they've I think I own Labyrinth 3 times now because they've brought the Blu-ray back out
Sure.
with its original cover, but with more special features.
Well, then,
so I'm
yeah,
like,
that's it.
Of course,
you've got to get it again.
Original cover. What are you
It
insane?
gets really frustrating when it's movies that you love as well. When all
Yeah.
of a sudden there's this new kind of thing, you're like, oh, fuck, I'll buy it again.
I have to buy it again.
Especially, like, I don't mind so much if I've got one special edition and I upgrade to a better special edition.
Yeah.
What I hate is when I've bitten the bullet and gone, there's never going to be a good version of this. Bought a vanilla, like, just movie, maybe with the trailer. And do you know what I hate when I see on a turnover and it says production stills as a special feature or interactive menus? I'm like, that's not a fucking special feature.
But
That's a DVD.
then, Tys, you buy that, and then about 6 months later,
suddenly it's the special director's cut edition 3-disc set with fucking everything, and
And
you're like,
then you
well,
buy that.
of course.
Exactly.
And then I've got 2 copies.
So
and I can't pay someone to take away this copy that I've got, so it just sits on the shelf.
I'm going to end this conversation with a beautiful way. How many, which we'll get to eventually, but we've held off for a reason, people.
Sure.
How many versions of Superman 1979 do you
Oh,
own? Go on.
no, 79. I don't have that many.
The original? Really? No?
I've only got the one in the box.
Oh.
I've got it on VHS.
Yeah, one.
And I've got the
So
the box that came out when it was remastered on
also
DVD.
2 copies.
But
Okay, but
I have
Superman 2?
I have 5
Don't
copies
say
of Superman Returns.
Returns.
Yeah. Because
Wow,
I have
Brandon Routh.
Yeah, I have it in the box.
Such an underrated
The silver
Superman
box that
Yeah.
came out when
I got that.
Superman Returns came out.
Yeah.
I have
Killer special features in that box. by
Yeah,
the way.
there's some really
The
great
docos.
documentaries that are
Fuck,
lovely. I have the special edition that came with a comic book
Yep.
sealed.
Yeah.
I have the special edition 2-disc set sealed.
Yep.
I have
Superman Returns.
the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And is
That was 5.
that 5 or is that 4?
No, that was 5.
Okay, so that's it, yeah.
I own 3 copies. So Superman 79, 3 copies on VHS. I have no fucking idea why.
Nice.
I have 1 Blu-ray and 2 DVDs. That's 6 copies of 1 film. And that's it.
You know what? I keep seeing the Blu-ray box set because I don't have them on Blu-ray yet.
Oh, really?
The Supermans. I've got the DVD silver tin.
No, I do.
I keep seeing the Blu-ray one because it's only like $30.
I know, it's
and
so
I'm like,
nice. It's so nice.
it'd be nice to have them on Blu-ray. Except that
would.
Blu-ray set doesn't have the Donner cut of Superman 2.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm
well,
like, well, then what's the point? Because
exactly.
it's half the fun is to have those like that Donner cut isn't. It's hard. It's a hard watch because it's not a complete film.
It is.
You're watching test footage. You're watching like unfinished shots. It's rough, right?
It is.
But
still,
for someone like us, it's a curiosity,
and especially reading the story of what happened to Donner. Like he signed on for 2 films. He filmed them back to back, and then midway through, Mario, what's his name, just went, "Yeah, we're done. You're fired." And he's like, "What?"
Was it Dino De Laurentiis?
Yeah.
No.
Whoever had the rights to Superman at the time. It was just a harsh.
You know what I always find interesting is that the first Superman was written by Mario Puzo, who wrote The Godfather.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's where I got the name.
I think
it wasn't
that's
the writer.
because that's what you said.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Blows my mind.
Godfather, Superman. Well, yeah. That's one of my favorite posters, by the way.
Oh, the Salkinds.
That's the one.
Yeah, Alexander Salkind.
That's right. That's right. And one of the Salkinds directed later on, didn't they?
Yes. No.
Quest for Peace?
No, they didn't direct Quest for Peace, but they were involved in all of them.
Yeah.
And took it away from a big company and sold them to Canon Pictures.
That's right. Yep.
Thus we have Superman 4, which is just an awful, awful, awful thing.
But Nick, as a 8-year-old, loved it to death. 8-year-old? Hang on. When did it come out? 89. Story for another time.
Yeah, it's very much so.
All right.
Well, that was our Chockers mailbag. It was super Chockers, and we're very excited. Like, I think...
Keep them coming,
people.
Yeah.
We'll obviously try and smash them out a bit quicker, but I loved that I knew that we had meaty topics this week, so I was like, let's dedicate some time to the mailbag because we're going to talk about these topics and give them some real time to flesh out.
Exactly. We like that.
We do like that. All right, we ready to cross some streams?
Crossing some streams. Cross some streams.
Oh, maybe I'm imagining now like a hair metal band.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking in my head.
No, that's never what I was thinking, but I'm there now. Like a scarf drifting off the microphone, and like a real just like crossing the streams, like that kind of like that real like power metal. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Okay, cool.
Crossing the streams, power metal.
Okay, I'm on it.
Hair metal. I'm on. Would you like to go first, Tyson?
Sure, man. So my pick tonight is on Netflix. And it is called Wet Hot American Summer.
The film.
Oh,
I've only seen the TV series.
Oh, well, how did you watch the TV series before the film?
I don't know. I didn't know it was a film before it was a TV series.
Oh,
that's
interesting.
Yeah, because I saw the trailers of the TV of the
show, the TV series.
Yeah. When it came out, I was like, "This looks badass."
And noticing all the people that were in it.
Yeah, and I watched it, and then I think midway through, I was like, "Oh, it's a film." But yeah. What is that on? Netflix.
It is on Netflix. It's on Netflix.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's really funny. Yeah. It's a really, really funny film. I mean, if you know the cast of the television show, it's all those people.
Yeah.
Kind of before they made it huge.
Oh.
Well, because the film was made in 2001.
Oh, okay.
So this was before, like, Bradley Cooper had exploded. This was before, oh my God, I'm blanking on her name. Parks and Rec. Amy Poehler. This is before Amy Poehler was huge. This was before, well, Paul Rudd had Clueless and things, but he wasn't like Paul Rudd.
He wasn't Ant-Man.
No, exactly.
I'm kidding.
So really, it's funny that probably the most successful person from that cast, this cast at the point, was probably Janine Garofalo.
Oh, I love Janine.
Who is great, but is now kind of not really as big as some of these people.
Because she stopped doing stuff. Janine, where are you?
Yeah. It's super funny. It's
that's awesome.
Really surreal.
Yeah.
Like you go into it thinking it's just going to be a bit kind of satirical, maybe like have elements of parody in it, but it gets really dark at points. It gets really bizarre.
Yeah.
Like things just happen out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you kind of have to stop and be like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is going on? It's bonkers. There's a really great, like, there's a few little side stories that happen independent of the main story. Like, Molly Shannon is in it, featuring as, like, a camp counselor who is having relationship troubles and has huge conversations about it with the campers while they're doing, like, arts and crafts.
Yeah.
And it's a really funny aside.
Awesome.
They just kind of cut to that every now and then.
Yeah.
There's the chef, played by the guy from Law and Order SVU.
Oh, really?
God.
What, Goran?
Why can't I think? No, Goran was... there's too many names in my head now.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
No, yeah, not him. Christopher Maloney.
Oh, right.
From, Law and Order SVU, plays like a really like intense chef who is being spoken to by a can of tin spaghetti.
Oh, they have that in the TV series.
Well, there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it originated in the film.
Nice.
Very, very funny. Really, like, laugh out loud funny, but you've got to be in that frame of mind where you've got to be willing to go with real kind of just surreal stuff. But well worth the watch, and especially because then you can go watch the episodes.
I think
of the
you would have.
series.
I think to be honest, you would have got more from the TV series had you watched the movie first.
Yes, I
because
agree.
towards the end of the TV series, we were like, okay, wait, what's going on?
Well, this is the thing. It's just bonkers, and it's like one of those movies where you've just got to accept the fact that. It's just insane, and it's just going to do these stupid things, and you've just got to be on board for it. It reminds me a little bit of Anchorman in that way.
Oh yeah,
you know when Anchorman takes that really weird left turn, and he's in the bear cage, and you're just like, all right, well this is where that movie's going.
Sure, man,
it's happened. Yeah. Someone's kicked Baxter off a bridge, and now he's like it kind of takes a turn like that, where it's just like
bottle.
There's where the plot's going.
Sure.
We're just going to go
Let's
with it.
go with it.
Yeah. But definitely worth watching. Get on it.
Crossing the Streams.
What do you got for us, man?
Crossing the Streams is completely opposite. It's a horror film called The Orphanage. Have you seen The Orphanage, Tys?
I've not seen The Orphanage.
Oh, maybe this will be a one for later.
I'm thinking.
It's a Spanish film.
It is.
2007 it came out. It's on SBS Demand.
SBS On Demand.
Yeah. It's amazing. This is a chilling film. It's about a woman who brings her family back to the childhood home in which she grew up in, which used to be an orphanage for handicapped children. And her son, who... I won't go into that because it's a bit of a spoiler.
No spoilers.
Her son starts to communicate with an invisible friend.
Okay.
And it gets a little crazy. It gets a little full on. It gets a little, a little scary. And then at the end, the ending doesn't end. I'm going to say this. The ending doesn't end how you think it's going to end. It's not a typical horror movie where they get the kid back and the movie and the house gets cleansed and they all live happily ever after.
Okay.
It's not a ending that you think is going to happen like that. But yeah, it is definitely worth the watch.
Awesome.
Please watch it.
All right. That wraps us up for this evening.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Tys.
Why don't you remind everybody where we can be found online?
You can be found online.
I can be found.
We can be found. Sorry.
No personal details,
No
please.
personal details.
My text file number is...
Stop it right there. You can find us on iTunes.
Please rate, review, subscribe.
Do all those things. You can find us on Stitcher. Can you rate, review, and subscribe us on Stitcher?
Yeah, you can do things. You can do a star system.
Do all that.
Do that on Stitcher.
Tune in radio.
You can find
us where all good podcasts are sold.
All good podcasts are sold.
That's true. You can follow us on Twitter at Nick Tys Videotape.
Do that.
You can do that. You can email us your questions, your queries, a topic you would like for us to discuss.
Please do email us in it.
And then
we love hearing from you guys.
And then of course there's the good old Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook. You can rate us on Facebook. Someone has rated us on Facebook. Thank you for that.
Oh yes, thanks. Shout out to Carl, friend of the podcast, for giving us a review on Facebook. That was really kind.
Man, he agreed with you with dirty dancing. I'm fine. I'm the majority. I don't mind.
But yeah, and we do kind of post some stuff during the week. We kind of just here and there, like little comments, little kind of photos, maybe like a little photo album from the movie we've been talking about. So it's worth getting on because we do kind of try and
talk about it if you want to. Be bold and talk about it, or if not, share it. Or if you don't want to do that, what was I going to say? Not just like it so that your friends see it.
That's it, exactly.
And they go, oh, what's this?
And we'll be super, super grateful forever.
We would.
Next week, Nick. Oh, I'm so excited.
Next week.
Next week we're returning to regular programming. We're just doing a
regular scheduled program.
Regularly scheduled. Yeah. We're just going to do a film.
We're
returning to the 90s.
We are going to do a quintessential 90s film.
I'm so excited for this film.
A very if I'm pretty sure if you were a goth, you had this film.
Yeah, and watched it multiple times.
Yeah, or maybe not. Maybe you were. Or
maybe you were too cool for it because it was not like.
Maybe it wasn't gothic enough for you.
It wasn't legit. It was
What's
like
the
commercialized version. We're doing The Craft. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Neve Campbell, we're coming at you live next week.
Next week, we're going to be talking about
Craft.
Craft.
Live. Maybe we're going
to be praising
The Craft.
Mena, hailing to the guardians of the watchtowers of the north.
Oh my God! Wow, you know this backwards, don't you?
I cannot wait. It's going to be a really fun discussion. I'm really looking forward to it. The Craft. So have a watch of The Craft and tune in next week, guys. We look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you plenty.
Thanks.
Bye.